All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Wednesday. CPI data, inflation has gotten below 3%. And if you remember, that's when Jerome Powell said that's the time when they're going to start decreasing interest rates. They're going to start their interest rate cuts. It's most likely 100% chance we are going to get an interest rate cut. We'll just say 95% because we don't want to be 100% on anything. But most likely we will get our first interest rate cut in September, and it looks like it may be a big one. It may be a 50 basis point cut, and that's going to send the market flying. And the market has just been setting up for this. I'm not sure if they manipulate the CPI data to, again, we're going into it's a political year. We're going into an election. So the market always looks good during election. It just always seems that the market tends to look good during an election. So I'm not sure if they're able to spin those numbers a bit so we get that inflation number to below 3% so we can start cutting interest rates. But this just means that very bullish for investors, people in the stock market, people in the crypto market. We're already in a crypto bull market. Right now, it doesn't seem like it. If you look at Bitcoin, it fell when this CPI data came out, and that's kind of interesting because you would have thought, like, okay, now the CPI data is below that 3%. Jerome Powell is definitely going to cut rates in September, and that should be bullish. So what I think is happening is that we're getting a shakeout. The market manipulators are trying to get the weak hands out, get the rest of the weak hands out. So that way, when we go on this bull run, they don't have a lot of retail people taking profit. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, so let's take a look at this article really quick. And let's take a look at what it's talking about as far as CPI. Give me just a second. Share screen. All right. So it says, so this is business article, CNN business article. It says inflation milestone, consumer price index slows below 3% for the first time since March 2021. So a big deal. This hasn't happened since March 2021. And again, that's when Jerome Powell says he's going to start to cut interest rates. So let's read this. It says price hikes slowed more than expected in July, and for the first time in more than 3 years, the consumer price index has landed below 3%. That paves the way for the Federal Reserve to cut rates next month after a years long battle with inflation that sent rates spiking to a 23-year high. America's economy is showing signs of stress, and now that inflation appears under control, the Fed can reduce borrowing costs to trying to get job growth booming again. Yeah, and that's true. Like, the job market is very finicky right now. We're seeing a lot of people in tech get laid off, and in other areas as well, but mainly in that IT space. So yeah, it just set up perfectly to align again with the election, align with the 4-year crypto cycle. Everything just seems to align. So to me, it's definitely the 1%. The 1% manipulates the market, but definitely the powers that be made that CPI inflation reading below 3%. Because think about it, if it came up, let's just say it was 3.3%, would we have not gotten a rate cut in September? I don't think they could have let that happen, because I think the market would have kept correcting. We had Nvidia for a little while at 95 bucks. We had Tesla tanking a little bit. It's more of consolidating. We had BTC go all the way down to 50,000. So I don't think they were going to let that happen. So again, the powers that be made that under 3%. So now we are going to get an interest rate cut, and hopefully it's a 50 basis point, 0.5% in September. All right, so it says It says consumer prices rose 2.9% for the 12 months ended in July, slowing from June's 3% annual gain, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest CPI report released Wednesday. On a monthly basis, prices rose 0.2% after posting a 0.1% decline the month before. Economists were expecting a 0.2% monthly increase and an annual rise of 3%, according to the FactSet consensus estimates. Breaking the 3% barrier is a key psychological positive. Sung Woo Song, professor of finance and economics at La Jolla Marymount University and chief economist of Economics, told CNN in an interview. It shows that inflation is not only trending down, but disinflation is also on track. Now, again, who knows if this is true? We still have a lot of outstanding debt, student loan debt, credit card debt. So, again, who knows where they get these numbers, how they come up with the percentage. I'm not sure. I mean, I think they do release reports, but I'm not sure if they go into real detail how these, how they get the numbers on those reports. They may take stuff out, put stuff in, may not include stuff, exclude stuff. So it's very finicky. But again, I really don't care. This is good for people that are invested in the market, such as myself. Hopefully you're invested, so that way you can benefit from this bull run that we're about to, be a part of. Hopefully you have a position in something. The cost of owning and renting a home rose 0.4%. That so-called shelter index accounted for nearly 90% of the monthly increase, BLS said in the report. The S&P closed 0.4% higher Wednesday as investors parsed the latest inflation report. The Dow rose 242%, 0.6%, and the Nasdaq Composite added 0.03%. All right, so yeah, very bullish news for the markets. I think, leading up to the rate cut, we're going to start to see some positive. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to see some positive price action. Right now, if we look at the BTC chart, I'm not going to pull it up, but BTC is in this channel where it's ready to break out. And remember, usually, every 4 years around this November time, we usually get that parabolic move that we see when BTC went from 5K to 20K, when BTC went from 20K to 60K. This is normally the time. And remember, we already broke all-time highs. So, yeah, I think bullish times ahead. September is going to be really good for investors, and you should be happy if you're invested. Now, I think for the stock market, I think NVIDIA is going to do well. Remember, NVIDIA has earnings at the end of this month, and I think it's going to be, I think it has to align. Nancy Pelosi, I think she has a total of 20,000 shares in NVIDIA, so she's not buying to lose money. She knows something's up. She's ready to make some money. As you've seen her track record, she's made a lot of money trading stocks. Now, whether she has inside information, who knows? But it just seems like she always buys at the right time. So, yeah, she has a lot of shares. I think NVIDIA will probably end the year maybe at 150 to 200. Who knows? And especially if their earnings comes out really well. The AI narrative, I think, is going to pick back up, especially in the crypto market. Those AI plays, I think, are going to do really well. And, yeah, really good news. Really excited. Hopefully, that first rate cut. I'm not sure when's the next meeting as far as the Fed, but sometime in September. So expect to see price increases, bounce backs towards the end of August, going into September. And yeah, and that's going to be the first rate cut. We're probably going to get another one in November, maybe December. And I think they said they have 8 or 9 on the table going into 2025. So it's just going to be really bullish from here. So yeah, I think this is one of the last dips in the market you're going to be able to get into it, before we get a big run up. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you guys are invested. Hopefully you have your list of assets. Like I always say, have a list of assets ready That way, when opportunities, when we had dips like we had in the last couple weeks, you could take advantage of them. But if you don't know what you're going to buy, then you have to go through that whole research process to find the asset. You're rushing it, you may get into the wrong asset, and then you don't take advantage of the bull run. But yeah, that's pretty much it today. Just wanted to go over the CPI data. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, Mr. Financial Nutrition on TikTok. I post at 6 o'clock during the week. I will post today because today is Wednesday, and then on Sunday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.